We've had some interesting updates in the world of competitive Street Fighter. It's nothing too crazy, really, except for Lashar being the GOAT, winning back-to-back tournaments. And this is very interesting because we haven't seen a repeat premier champion in quite some time in Street Fighter 6. A big part of that is because of the format, where previously a lot of players were not incentivized to travel to multiple premier events because there wasn't a point system. It was only auto qualifier. So in general, a lot of people weren't even traveling to begin with. Also, because people weren't as familiar with the game yet. It was a little more volatile and people were still learning the system. So Lashar winning back-to-back is actually, it was a long time coming for someone of Lashar's caliber to do that, but also a consequence of the format as well. And Lashar just being the GOAT, but that's not surprising. He is obviously on the next level and has been for quite some time. He won Combo Breaker primarily by using Mai, but what was surprising was how in the grand finals of CEO, he went all the way to grand finals winner side with his Mai, and now reset the bracket in dominating fashion. He switched to Ed in the reset, he beat that, and then he switched over to Terry, and eventually ran that all the way back with Terry to go to the final game here, and with a perfect on his side, had NL in the corner and got the check. Final combo here, and of course he ends it with the Buster Wolf. Are you okay? And with that, Terry won a major, maybe. Depends on how you define it. In my opinion, I think this counts partially for a Terry winning a major, but there's a little bit of an asterisk there. It was used as a player counter pick. I don't think Terry counterpicks Akuma necessarily, but like a player counter pick in grand finals only. He did not use Terry for any other part of the bracket, but Terry grand finals winning a major is definitely unexpected a few patches ago, and not many characters in this game period in its lifespan have won majors. But that was just the first instance here, and this was the very first major after the season 3 balance update. So it's interesting to see, like, hey, we're going to see Akuma winning again, we're going to see more Mai. No, Terry takes it in grand finals, whereas in the previous major, Combo Breaker played on the patch just before this. Lashar did it with pretty much almost exclusively Mai. Then in the end, he used Ed as well against Itabashi. Come World Warrior, where the players across the entire world are playing in their online qualifiers in their region, we got to have a slew of new results across the world, and interesting things were going down, starting with my region, Midwest, and in here in grand finals, in a region where you have players like Justikid, Dual Kevin, one of the most consistent players in the whole Street Fighter 6 scene for quite some time now. Dual Kevin did not even make top 8 with his Rashid in this bracket. Instead, we have Hammad here, winner side grand finals with his Honda, and he ends up closing out this set winner side 3-0 over Justikid, goes for the drive rush into DI, and Hammad wins a World Warrior event in the Capcom Pro Tour with Honda, right? It's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Hammad has always been a top level competitor in the Midwest region for quite some time. He just doesn't enter as much, but he got second at Texas Showdown not too long ago against Noah the Prodigy in pre-season 3 Honda. He did have some words to say. Fair warning, this is full flexing, full ego, full everything. You've been warned. You've been warned.
27 seed, huh? You disrespect my name? Huh? Low Kick Esports, you disrespect my name, right? Next time you fucking seed me correctly. Whoever fucking seeded me, get your ass on the fucking sticks right now. I will make you hate fighting games. Put some respect on my goddamn name. Okay, I'm done.
The okay, I'm done gets me every single time. And to be fair, he did have a little bit of a reason to complain. So he was seeded 27th for this tournament, where he went on to win in dominant fashion. And if you were to seed based on any past history of the players, you would clearly understand that Hammad is obviously not the 27th seed. However, to be fair to Low Kick Esports and the people seeding it, usually they base things off of previous CPT World Warrior performances, and Hammad never entered the CPT World Warriors before, but he made top 8 in the premiere in season 1, second at Texas Showdown, has had other offline premiere top level performances. Even based on, if you go further back, of course, he was a top level Street Fighter 4 player. So like, yeah, 27th seed is incorrect, but you know, they might have been following a textbook seeding formula a little bit too close to the book, and Hammad obviously felt some kind of way about that. If you were to seed this just based on predicted level, you would not put Hammad as 27th seed. He proved them definitely wrong. He needed that chip on his shoulder maybe to motivate him to go all the way and get what I believe is the first World Warrior win for Honda. No, that's incorrect. It's one of the only few World Warrior wins for Honda. I believe Freezer in Australia, if I'm remembering correctly, also won some as well. but it was still an unexpected result in a region where you'd expect obviously someone like Dual Kevin to run away with it potentially, or Just a Kid to win the events. But it didn't end there, because heading over to South America, we have Blaz in his World Warrior region playing not Ryu, not Ken, not Terry, but Jamie. And not only that, I went over to the VODs, and the first match of top 8 winners is a Jamie mirror. Blaz here playing the Jamie. He's here on set point, but it's final game, final round between him here and Frozen in the Jamie mirror, and he gets the sway back with the punish there. It wasn't even a whiff punish. It wasn't a punish kind of. Frozen just whiffed and then tried to move out of the way or something. Gets that level 4 double punch extension into the full level 3 combo. Look at the damage on that thing. 69 every time. Blaz ends up taking the Jamie mirror in top 8 winners last game, last round. But just seeing a Jamie mirror in this region, Frozen has always consistently done really well in the South America East region for CPT, even since Street Fighter V. I think he usually played like Nash, if I remember correctly. And it doesn't end there. On to winners finals up against Self Cool out of Argentina. And another final game, final round situation between these two players. Blaz behind here, but he manages to survive the bomb there and forces Self Cool into burnout. Only 1 bar super to Self Cool's name. Drive rush into the sweep here. He's going to try to milk this burnout for all it's worth. Well spaced palm, drive rush in. Did he bite? No. Baits out the level 1. He's going to get this combo punish here. That's a guaranteed DI stun. Going to get the 2 drinks. And then he dropped the combo there. That is definitely supposed to combo. But gets the dive kick after the reset and then the DP after the whiff grab. And Blaz moves on to Grand Finals winner side with the Jamie. The Jamie's looking legit. It's real. And then in Grand Finals, Blaz sticks to the Jamie going up against Cryme, who, if you were not respecting this region, Cryme was put into losers earlier in the bracket, I believe, by Self Cool. And, Cryme, also younger than Blaz. These are the 2 top dogs in this region. This region is super stacked even beyond these 2 players, though, to be clear. Cryme is not smurfing with the Zangief, by the way. Blaz beat his Ryu with Jamie, and then he switched to Zangief, and he got a game with Zangief, but now here Blaz is on set point with Cryme's Zangief in the corner. Cryme has a Zangief. He even picked up Zangief and then beat Zangief Bolato in a mirror match in tournament recently. So it's crazy how many characters these kids have in their pocket, by the way. Blaz here. Full level 3 conversion. Level 3 on the side of Cryme. Did it land? Nah. Baited out. Level 4 drink. Regular grab. And Blaz wins South America East with Jamie. So it's not surprising to see Blaz winning these World Warrior events. This is how he qualified for Capcom Cup, where he went on to get 2nd place. He dominated his World Warrior region. He did it last time with a lot of Ed and then Ryu towards the end. And he ended up being known internationally more as a Ryu player, even though for most of that season he played a lot of Ed to get all of his points to qualify for Capcom Cup. Now he's rocking a Jamie. And this made me feel a little bit better because I actually got to see Blaz at Combo Breaker. And his dad flagged me down and made me sit down to play his son in a 1st to 5. And I was like, what are you trying to set me up for failure here, man? You trying to embarrass me? And then, of course, Blaz picks the Jamie on me. And I was like, KSSO. Managed to get a few games on him in the beginning, but then he downloaded me at the end and he won the 1st to 5. Dominating fashion at the end. But I was like, okay. It's not just me he's trolling with Jamie. It's his entire World Warrior region. Jamie wins a World Warrior event all the way through from Blaz. But of course, then I think this tidal wave really kind of broke, and this story broke out to the public when we had Infectious with Modern Marissa and the UK World Warrior. Of course, Broski was playing in this tournament, and Broski qualified out of this region last Capcom season and managed to go all the way to top 16 Capcom Cup with Izaki. So, super popular streamer, YouTuber. He streamed his whole run. He gets to grand finals, has to go up against Infectious. Infectious is playing Modern Marissa. Who plays Modern Marissa? What is this? First of all, Marissa was considered for the longest time to be one of the weakest characters in the game overall, much less Modern. But Infectious here, one interaction potentially away from taking the tournament, gets that command grab. Broski in the corner has level 1 to fight out if a DI comes, but he's in danger of chip. And then the Modern anti-air reaction with the Gladius and the armor. That was going to secure it right there. And Infectious took that set and won World Warrior UK. And this is a stacked region. It's not just Broski in there. You have players like Problem X. You got players like Lex in there, players like Ending Walker. Very competitive region. And Infectious is coming seemingly out of nowhere in the minds of a lot of people to win this event, because Infectious, if you don't know, was a very strong late game Hugo player in Street Fighter 4. Then, of course, one of the best European players, and also one of the best players in the world, period, in Street Fighter 5, rocking a lot of Zeku primarily. He won this whole event over super stat competition, and he returned to his former glory days where he was once for about 5 seconds the EVO 2019 champion.
This is his moment. UAE.
What?
Oh, and a counter
from Bonchan. He jumps back. He read it and he takes it. Bonchan
in this
is
moment
now your grand champion.
Infectious world champion right there before they quickly corrected that to Bonchan. But he did get top 3 at EVO that year. So it was really surprising to a lot of people to see this result, because it's Modern Marissa and it's Infectious, where Infectious has not been so prolific in the Street Fighter 5 era. And in general, if you look at the results, here's the top 8 character representation from CatCammy, who crunches a lot of statistics in the Street Fighter world. For CPT 2024 season, last season, at the end of it, how many characters were represented in the top 8 at these World Warrior events? And on the bottom here, you see Terry, Marissa, Jamie, and Honda. So while these characters last season were the least represented overall in terms of top 8 appearances, and I guess they had 0 wins, maybe there's 1 win in there somewhere, this time they all won events, all in a row, in the first batch of World Warrior and major events. It's a complete inverse from what we've seen so far. And to be fair, though, it's not like there's Marissa's and Jamie's and Honda's dominating the competition worldwide. If you go through, like, this is Wikipedia listing all the tournaments, and you can see all the World Warrior events listed here. There's still a lot of like standard results from expected players playing, you know, standard Street Fighter 6 meta characters that we've come to know over the past couple of years, right? So it's not like, I don't want to paint this picture that the whole season's been turned on its head. That's not the case. But it was a lot of surprising results back to back to back to see in that sense. So the question is the meta finally changing? Because a lot of people were disappointed in the Season 3 balance patch. And I guess myself included, I kind of contributed to that overall discussion and narrative about the balance patch being rather underwhelming. And I still stand by that to a degree. The saying goes, it's nothing changes and then everything happens all at once. Every single balance patch, piece by piece, there have been small tweaks made to the balance and to change how some of the mechanics interact. So things like low forward drive rush, I still think is dominating how the game is played, but they didn't reduce the pushback on a lot of light, so that immediate defensive tick throws or immediate defensive throws are stronger versus some offensive options. They've been tweaking how the drive scaling's worked. They've been nerfing parry recovery. So obviously all the individual character nerfs to top tier characters and the individual character buffs slowly add up over time. I mean, we've seen in some ways how that's worked with Ryu. I was talking on the stream earlier about this. I feel like Ryu is a case where he's been slowly buffed over and over and over, and now it's too much where he has like kind of degenerate moves like Light Hashogeki, which is safe on block but leads to, it extends its block strings for an extra turn, safe on block but on counter hit launches to full combos. And he does massive damage, and then Donkey Kick's impossible to punish. So on top of being fundamentally more and more solid season after season, so Ryu kind of has been slowly buffed to this point where you can't deny how strong he is. And even for the characters that you think are rather weak, those buffs have been adding up over time. So I do think an element of what's going on here is for sure the change in the actual strength of the characters. However, I do want to highlight this series of tweets from Infectious. June 22nd, 2024. Finished 49th in CPT World Warrior UK Ireland 1. Felt great to be competing again, but there's so much to learn. GG's to his opponents who beat him, Teeny Tiny Tony and Booney 12. July 6, 2024. Finished 33rd in CPT World Warrior UK Ireland 2. A lot more work to be done before I can get close to any points. Competition is fierce. GG's to the Muscle Noob and Felipe Renan. August 14th, 2024. Finished 13th in CPT World Warrior UK Ireland 3. Glad to be making progress, but there's still a long road ahead. GG's Rapid and Link Nova. And then June 27th, 2025. Finish first in CPT World Warrior UK Ireland 1. A great start, but there's a long road ahead. GG's Broski. The exact same 4 tweets over the course of a year. Every single tweet shouting out his opponents, talking about working on the process, and the results steadily climbing until he claimed first place. So I mentioned before, people thought that Infectious came out of nowhere to claim this prize. No, he has been on the grind, whether it's been visible or not to you, whether or not he's been broadcasting to the world, making a lot of noise on social media. He's been putting in the work silently so we can have this moment here. And I think this speaks volumes for what's going on here, not just for having this kind of work ethic to Infectious particularly, but I think players are just better at the game. Defense is always something that develops second to offense, and we see this time and time again with new fighting games, including a game like Street Fighter 6. Now, I still think Street Fighter 6 is extremely offensive, yes, but players like Hammad, players like Blaz, players like Infectious, they have learned the systems enough and understand the risk reward and understand the matchups in order to play defensively and utilize their characters to their utmost potential and counteract these strong offensive options from other characters. So yes, the patches did matter. Yes, the buffs and the nerfs do make differences over time, but also players are just getting good. And I think we're finally reaching that tipping point where character specialists are being rewarded more and more consistently for understanding all the nuances with their characters in their specific matchups. This might be a sign of things to come. I still predict that at high level, we're going to see a lot of Mai's and a lot of your typical meta characters that are with a consensus in the community to be very strong. But I think we might see an oddball here or there with character specialists representing a pick that you might not expect and taking them all the way to first place. All right, that's all I had for this video. Thanks for watching. If you like this stuff, subscribe to the channel. This is probably going on the Clips channel, by the way, and we're trying to build that up, so you might not even realize it's my second channel. And thanks for watching. Peace.